Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to Card Making Project 514. Now this week we've got our normal 2 Anna Griffin videos and our fortnightly Fab Scraps video on Wednesday. However, there's a theme running through them all, and that's love and romance. Not only that, but we're going to use photos for all the projects as well. So I thought it would be great to do something a little bit different with those photos that you've got stuffed in your shoe boxes or under the stairs or in the loft. So maybe it's time to dust them off and try and make something a little bit different. And hopefully my ideas you'll like. Everything I do use for the videos I shall put in a detailed list on my blog, so please check it out. You can always contact me directly through my blog, or you can always comment on Facebook or on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter. All the links are at the end of the video if you need them. Any problems, or if you want to share any photos of projects that you've made that you've maybe thought of seeing my ideas and thought, oh, I can do that, please show me, because I enjoy seeing your photos. So let's have a look at today's project. Now for this project we're actually going to use quite a lot of our Anna Griffin items that we've got in our stash. So I want to run through some of them because there's a lot of action with this photo card that we're going to make. So the first item is the fancy folded smocked border from Paper Tricks 2, because we're going to be paper folding. We're also going to be using the tooled ribbon 3D embossing folder from the tooled leather embossing folder selection. We're going to be using a die from the beautiful trimmings, and this is just, you don't have to use any of these. You might have something in your stash that you think you could use better or you want to substitute. This is actually something that I've used for the corners of the card, so it's not imperative if you don't have anything. We're going to be using one of the fancy French frames, and we're going to actually be using this one and the 2 oval dies and the bow in that selection. Now we're going to be using the swallowtails, both large and smaller, from Paper Tricks 2 dies. And we're also going to be using the Happy Anniversary stamp from the can't see, can you? The Happy Anniversary stamp from the Treasury Original Collection. I've got it down, it says part 1 on my thing, but that's for, you know, it's for me for reference basically. So we're going to be using those stamps, and we're going to be using the matching dies as well. So now there's quite a few bits that we're using to create this card. I want to show you the photo as well, because I know you like seeing that and I know you like hearing about it, and it's just kind of like a great week this week with us featuring love and romance. So here I am in my finery and my husband in his, and luckily we coordinate. It was as if it was planned. So this was my wedding day, and we sloped off after, that sounds quite bad, but we sloped off after we got married to a field that was full of poppies, and we had some photos taken, and it was just the most beautiful setting. And there we are drinking champagne. There was myself and I. There was myself, my husband, and Mike, a friend, taking the photos. There was only us 3 there, and it was gorgeous, and the sun had come out by then because it had rained all morning. So that's the photo that we're going to use. Now I promise you this photo card will look like you've spent days creating it. I'm going to use an 8x8 card for my friends across the pond who struggle for the size of 8x8. You could scale it down and use your 7x5 because the frame fits on there. You might not be able to fit the paper folding on, but I'd give it a go for making your own 8x8. It isn't something that you're going to need an envelope for. You're going to wrap it in tissue and give it to somebody personally. It would be great for a wedding day, or for an anniversary, or for something like that, a special occasion. you would give it for them to make keep it as a keepsake rather than something that they're just going to put away. So we're starting with an 8x8 card. As always, I've stamped using my Handmade By stamp on the back. This is project 514 for anybody keeping track. I think I might have just said that in the preview, but I'm getting old and I can't remember things. So the more I repeat them, the more I might remember. So I'm using my bone folder to make sure I've got a nice sharp crease. And we're going to start with the insert first. Now, I think a few weeks ago I possibly made what I thought was the most beautiful insert. Well, this one probably is on par. And the whole ensemble for this, I think, is going to... Well, all week. All week is very different with using photos and having a theme of love and romance. So, but I think you're going to like this one. So I've taken a piece of ivory cardstock and I've cut it down to just slightly less than our actual card. So it's leaving a little bit of a border. Now you'll notice I've actually used a white card. I forgot to mention that. Rather than ivory. So I'm using a white one just for something different. And it's still going to tone in. So we won't worry about that. Now I've taken some of Anna's cardstock from the it's the Valentine cardstock. This wasn't available in the UK. I was lucky enough to go to the US last year, so everything else has been available here. So I've taken it and I've cut it into an inch square and I've cut it in half to create some corners, and they're literally just to place in all four corners. Now the cardstock, I've run it through the Xyron machine after cutting it into triangles basically. That's all they are for the corners. Just make sure that your lines are straight and then pop them in the corner. I'm turning it around to save me reaching. And there we go. So that's the fourth corner that needs to go on straighter than that. There we go. Now, as it stands, that's really pretty for an insert. You could stamp in the middle and bingo, that's it. But I'm going to add an embellishment from the Crown Embellishment stickers from Anna Griffin. This, I think, are some of the most beautiful stickers. They really are. And all you do is simply peel the back of them away. They are very sticky. Very sticky stickers. I'm going to position this just one corner. Now, I've left it as a 3D sticker because this card is going to have so much height on it anyway that I don't care that it's high in the centre. I've also used one of the floral tags and sentiment stamps. Sorry, I forgot to show you that at the beginning. And it just says, "You are so special to me." I've stamped it and then I've heat embossed it with gold embossing powder. I've got it on flat tape and I've just trimmed it myself. And I'm just going to position it kind of through the middle of the rose and kind of not. So it overlaps the sticker and I can press that down. There we go. Now that's our insert finished. Lots and lots of room for you to write on. And now we can create the front of our card. I'm going to use my bone folder again to make sure this is a nice sharp crease, because it's going to have quite a lot on it, but it's going to be so worth it. Now I've got a background piece of cardstock, and this is ivory, and it's a full piece. I've not been frugal with this at all. And I'm just going to add it to the front of our card. Oops, like so. There we go. Now next, this is where I've used the embossing folder. So what I've done is I've used, just as I reach for it, I've cut out 2 pieces of Anna's metallic pink cardstock, and I've cut them into 4-inch wide strips. I've left it as the 12 by 12, and then I've slotted it through the embossing folder. So I've embossed part of it, and then I pull it down and I emboss the other part, and I ended up with 2 strips, and you can see the line of the join. I've tried to pattern match the best I can. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm going to cover that, so I'm not going to worry. If you don't feel confident enough to do it in the full strip and you cut it down into 4 corners, you can cover your joins, so there's no harm in doing that. Now I've left mine as the strips, but I'm not happy I've got this line, because I'm a bit of a, I won't, well, maybe perfectionist, I don't know, but I know it's there. So even though you probably won't see it, but we've got something for that. So I've joined them together, and that join there, you won't see that anyway, because that will be covered. Now this is just a background, you don't have to emboss. Some people might say, oh, it's a waste to emboss the full section. I don't think it is, because I want the overall effect. I've got it on flat tape. Oh, sorry, so I took the 2 pieces, I'm interrupting myself here, I took the 2 pieces and I mounted them on a piece of card that I knew was the right size to go on the front of the card to layer. So then that way it would all fit together. There we go. So that's our embossed layer. Next, I've taken some of the Valentine cardstock, and that's, as I said, the only thing that's not available in the UK. So you could use Anna's foil layers. There was some card in there that was very, very similar, and that would match perfectly. And I've used the actual die from the beautiful trimmings, and I've just cut the sections. You can see that's where that's from. And then I've just cut them into a triangle at the other side, and so we're going to add these into our corners. I've just got flat tape on the back, and I'm taking them to the edge of the ivory cardstock that we had put on first for the layers, and I'm simply popping them on and pressing them down so they're still flat. So we've got 4 corners on the front of our card. I'll just check we're still the right way around. Yep, we don't want an Australian card. Now next, these little sections here, this is where our swallowtails come in. And I've die cut the smaller one in gold foil from Anna, and then ivory cardstock. I've simply got 3D foam on the back of the gold tails, and I'm going to just position those through the sides. So I'm sticking them together because I've got tape on the back, and then I'm just popping it over that section where the join was, so you won't see it. There we go. So that's all covered up now. So this is where our paper tricks come in. I've used the Charlotte paper, and I've created the smock border. I've die cut 3. I'll start that sentence again. I've trimmed 3 pieces of paper from the Charlotte collection into 2-inch wide, 12-inch long strips, and then I've used the embossing folder. I've popped them through there, I've folded it, and then I've stuck it to a piece of cardstock that's roughly the shape of what I want. So it's roughly an oval. And then I've stuck the paper folding. It found its natural line really, and it just fell into place, and I just pulled it round and it used very nearly 3 full sheets. I've got flat tape on the back of it, and I'm going to pop that in the centre of our card. I'm just checking I've got it the right way around as I place it down. There we go. So now that's on the card. You see how we don't really see the tails, but they're just peeking out, and they cover that join. We've got our roses in our corners, and so far so good. Next, we need our photo. So this is me and my husband, as I've showed you before. I've put it into the fancy French frame, and I cut the photo into an odd looking shape so it fits in the frame, and I've got 3D foam on the back. I've got 3 layers of 3D foam, and I'm simply going to pop the photo through the centre of the paper folding and then press it down. Now when you saw the 3D foam, it was just in the centre because of the height of the paper folding. I needed it to fit in the centre of that. So I can press that down. Next, I've got a second layer of the fancy French frame, and this is die cut with the oval centre with the larger of the 2 ovals. The photo was the smaller of the 2. This one is the larger of the 2. So we're going to create a shadow effect frame over the photo. I've got 3D foam on the back, and I'm now going to place one over the top of the other, and I'm hoping I kind of get them in line like so. There we go. Press all that down, and next I've also die cut the bow, and I've die cut it in the matching pink metallic cardstock. It's on 3D foam, and I've used just a little gem from my stash so I can attach the bow on top of the previous layer like so. Now, I mean, that looks gorgeous as it is, but we're just going to add just a little bit more to it. Do you remember the flowers that we used for the centre from the crown embellishment collection? So these are stickers, and I've simply peeled the back of it away, and I'm just going to lay that on the side for now. I've also taken a second flower from the crown embellishments kit, peel the back of it away, and again I'm just going to lay that on the side for now because I want to make sure I've got my positioning right, because I've stamped Happy Anniversary using our treasury stamps, and I've layered it onto the outline stamp as well. Now this is on flat tape, and I want it to kind of sit at the bottom, underneath and through the flower. So I want to make sure that the flower kind of goes over our anniversary label, sentiment label. There we go. Press that down if I've got it straight. And once I'm happy, I can press those flowers down, which I am happy now. And that finishes our gorgeous card. Now, I'm blown away by that. That is a stunner. Stands up, the inside matches the outside, and it is just what a perfect gift for somebody. So like I mentioned before, I would wrap that in tissue rather than, because it's very deep with layers. So wrap it in tissue with a nice bow across it and a little tag to my whoever, and they're going to keep that forever, aren't they? I don't know about posting. Just thinking about posting, you'd probably need a box to post it, and then you would need your tissue to pad it out. But can you imagine receiving something like that? Now, you could tweak that into a wedding card to send to somebody. Anna had all those gorgeous wedding embellishments. You could put, you know, an image of a bride and groom in the centre on your wedding day, and it would just, you know, they'd keep it forever. Gorgeous card. Wasn't that a really, really cool project to make with your photos? And I've got to say, it just looks so gorgeous. And the detail, it is definitely a keeper and a keepsake project. And anybody that you make that for, and that when they receive it, they're going to be in tears, I'm sure. And I think that will look great on my mantelpiece. So I would just like to say thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.